What's up? Yeah, this is for the players. This is for the team. Everybody ready? Let's go. It's Friday, go and play. Cash prize, go and play. Dope is ready, go and play. Wanna get hooked, go and play. I wanna win trophies like I said. Lose, and I cannot forget. If I cannot finesse, smash the controller. We play as a team, we believe in skill. Now, this is the dream. I wanna get my name on the board. Yeah, you better tell me. I wanna play FIFA. Yeah, get bait with a beef. I wanna go out with a bang. Get ready for the crunch, tackle the meat. So where you gonna go? PGS. Where you gonna play? PGS. Who you gonna tell? PGS. 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 Where you gonna go? PGS. Where you gonna play? PGS. Who you gonna tell? PGS. Yes, yes, PGS. Yes, PGS. See, PGS. We, PGS. Yeah, PGS. She, PGS. Arigato, PGS. Spasiva, PGS. Ma farsi sobarmi con in PGS.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the PGS Podcast with your boy Zach, aka Zach Jr. And today we have a full-on show, as promised from last week. We're coming with a bang, starting with a bang. I'd like to introduce, without further ado, let's get right into it. Billy Harris. I've never called you by your surname, mate. How you doing? As again, Billy Harris. Long time. Yeah, you alright?
Yeah.
I just got Billy Harris on your screen, so I thought let me just call out the full name. And Cozy, the main guy, Cozy. How you doing, mate?
Hey, I'm not too bad.
Right?
How you doing today?
Not too bad indeed. I hear that you're a bit of a famous guy, especially after running a few successful tourneys this week, mate.
Oh, blimey.
But we'll get into that a bit later.
I'm just a couple.
Well, listen, for everyone that's tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in once again. To all our new members, welcome to the official PGS podcast with myself, Isaac, and Cozy. We have Billy with us this weekend for Manager's Corner. So for all those who remembered Manager's Corner from our last shows, from last year, last season, you recall that we had sessions for all those managers looking to start their own clubs within these servers, within the PGS community. Billy, very experienced, you can say by the beard. I think growing when we first interviewed, and it's now in its full cycle trimester, fully fledged beard. So you can tell the experience is all in there. So we're really glad to have him on board. Just to recap on last week, we had an introductory show, slightly delayed, but we had an introductory show to talk to you about all the things that we've got coming up. And from that show, we had some really good feedback, some really good messages. I hope they don't mind me calling out their name, but I want to shout out Remy, aka Sam Remington, and Better Guy Ryan. These two were really happy and completely but they were quite gracious with regards to the feedback on mental health, some of the things that we've been running on the show. Also, watching a lot of our shows back from last year, a lot of the shows that myself and Cozy did, and myself and Billy, and all those shows are still relevant. So please feel free to look back on those shows, have a watch, particularly on the mental health side. We're hoping that will help you and anyone that you know. But for the meantime, welcome to the platform. I got some really cool messages in the week. Some batch messages about my scoring antiques that I haven't scored in a while. I'm not, I took that quite personally, actually, to be fair. So throughout the course of the show, revealing my scores for the week, and I'm quite proud of them. Right, so Cozy, we had a successful week this week with tournaments. I'd like to just give the audience a bit of a taster as to what's to come.
Yeah, so I mean, in the past week, I've run 3 tournaments. I did one in the PGS Foot server. Really good stuff. I think I had 25 people playing that one, which for the first one back in the server, great stuff. So thank you to everyone that's entered. And there is one tomorrow night. So if you want to enter that, jump in the server. And if you need a link, drop us a message and we'll get that to you. On Tuesday, I ran a tournament through another server. And it was an interesting one. It's always difficult running tournaments when it's not through your own server. I've set the server up to be perfect for me, perfect for anyone to come in and run it the way I do it, but other people do things slightly differently. So there's a couple of complications, but nothing we couldn't deal with. So that was quite good in the end, actually. And then we've got one that I ran on Friday night, which I think we're going to talk about in a little while.
No problem at all. No problem. So is that part and parcel of the big secret?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. No worries at all. Well, listen, we've got the chat bot, we've got the messages coming through, so I'm really excited to start this show. Billy, welcome aboard. I think the whole society knows who you are, and if they don't, then where have they been? How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Obviously, I'm not going to say we stepped away from it, but we stepped back from Team Sweet.
Yeah.
Still got a hoodie. But yeah, we stepped back. We took a very small number of those people. We're coming back. We started entering 11s because we had someone. Well, I had someone bug me in the ear again and again and again, and with long voice notes.
Can't imagine who that person might have been. But I want to give our audience some context. So at the top of the show, well, actually from last week, I did mention that we're going to try and get a lot of managers involved in our conversations and our debates. Obviously, naturally, because they are on our platform, and the PGS encourages it as well. So Billy's been on the show a couple of times before. As a manager of Team Shui, and I thought it would be good to assess the journey from TS till now, which is harpooned as 2 years and some change. So in terms of the time that we've known each other on the platform, being competitive, so just be interesting from our audience's point of view, how you have managed to keep the nucleus, which is quite important, and why have you decided to come back and try and push further in going forwards, and obviously some new, which we'll touch upon later, in terms of your role with the PGS.
Yeah. So obviously, when Team Sweet sort of came to an end, I had friends there, friends from real life, friends from. I mean, me and you, what we met on PlayStation communities. If anyone remembers that, I don't know if I remember that. So that small group sort of came together, and people may sort of say that 5s and 6s leagues don't really matter, but that's where we started. We had a squad of 8 or 9 that we kept together. Obviously, as I say, real life friends and online friends for years or whatever. So we kept it that way, and we haven't won anything. Nothing, nothing big yet. But we've entered some leagues. We've played really well. That nucleus of a team, so 6s or 5s. We've got people that couldn't move the ball very fast, moving the ball a lot faster now. Things, tiny little things like that. So just stepping back and working on those tiny little things. Obviously, any manager on here that might know, they'll probably have probably around 6. That is the nucleus of that team. And that's how we're going to grow. Yeah, I've done plenty in the background as well.
Yeah,
you know me, mate, and the long voice notes and everything else. I can't turn off. So as soon as I stop working, I'm back on it.
No, I mean it's. I think for me personally, and I think one of the reasons why I'm on making this happen is because the journey has been it's been a lot. There's a lot going on. There's a lot happening. I know, for instance, then this show going forwards, where we'll get managers coming in talking about how they keep players within the server. Finding the happy medium between keeping someone happy, keeping a group of people happy, keeping your flow. It's not easy, and it's more or less a full-time job in the backgrounds to ensure that a game that we're playing, that one game a week. If we're playing one game a week, 6 days, up to leading to that game, there's a lot of work going on in the background, as you mentioned, the voice note. So I think for me, there are a lot of people out there who are wondering why, because ultimately there's been arguments and there's been discussions and but why push through, particularly within this community?
Well, everybody that we have, they probably prefer to play PGS than sort of the other ones available. And the 1-day leagues help really well. We can select days on what we don't want. We find the admins in this league a lot easier to work with rather than other leagues. Trying to keep people happy. Mate, I'm still working on that one. I've got strikers playing centre back, right mid, cam. I've got strikers playing everywhere because everybody's a striker.
Yeah.
No names needed.
It's
Oh gosh, here we go.
Oh dear.
340 goals. No, God.
But he can play left mid. So, but it's not easy keeping people happy. I've got probably the biggest example of trying to keep someone happy is my two in real life friends, Aaron and Wayne.
Yeah,
both can play striker, more than capable. But they work with. It's hard to keep them happy because they need to drop back. They need to be that nucleus of the team and help out in other places. I don't always get the best reaction out of that, but we all do it for this one club. We don't. A lot of us in the group that we set up with the 5s and 6s, a lot of them didn't even bother playing without us. You know what I mean? They didn't join other teams. So yeah, we've got something going. It's a friendship group we've got. That's what we're working with, and we're pushing forward with the extras in, and hopefully they stay long. Like the likes of Liam, we've played for a while. God, I'm trying to think. 6. There's loads in there that have stayed a long time. And that's what we're looking to add.
Absolutely. Well, Cozy's one of them as well. I mean, when he decides to tick. Cozy's one of them as well. But I think that there's a lot to say for. I think I just want to pick up on you mentioned about Wayne and Aaron, obviously good players. But I think one thing I always say is that obviously if they're available, then more than likely they'll play. But then when it gets to a point where if you're struggling and you need to play someone else, how do you deal with that? How would you sit there with Wayne and get him to understand that, look, mate, because I've been in that situation before with Wayne. I mean, I don't know him as well as you do. Obviously, he's your mate, but it wasn't an easy conversation, even though it wasn't meant other than just, look, we're trying something different. So, and this is just other managers out there who are managing their friends as well as players within a group.
Well, for me, it's quite simple to answer, and you know my logic. And it's not always the best player that plays up front. You've got to build that through the way we play. You have to build it through midfield. So a lot of the time, I feel some of my 5 strongest players are in the midfield.
Yeah,
I've dropped you back to cam. I've moved people from striker to right mid, left mid, whatever, just so we can use possession. And you can look at all our stats for all our games. You can look at all the pictures that we've sent to the score. Most of the time, we're doubling passes of other teams. So these players that say they're strikers, Aaron's a good example. Aaron says sometimes he gets bored. You can't get bored in midfield. I mean, I think the other day, Ham had 41 passes. 41 passes. He's not bored.
Exactly.
You're in the game. But as I was saying to you, a lot of the time, you've had a good game if you've had 3 touches and you scored 3 goals.
Yeah.
But that's the life of a striker. So you've got to be adaptable. If you're going to be the nucleus part of the team, you've got to be able to move around. I'm back in centre back.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see a partnership of Cam and striker better than me and you most of. I mean, I play mostly centre back, and I'm number 7 on the assist leaderboard. I think.
Yeah.
I think 90% of those assists were you.
Yeah.
So it's you have to have that people that will move, and Wayne has played CDM, right mid.
Yeah,
Wayne's shortly lifting.
Wayne's a utility man. I know he's played every position. And you know what's funny about Wayne is, if you know what I mean, interjecting. Cozy, I'm going to come to you in a second. Do apologise, but with Wayne, he's an attacking player, but you've turned him into like an all-round. He can play CDM, he can play wide mid, CM. Maybe times if we're that desperate, but striker, CDM, CM, he's an all-round player.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the biggest thing I ever did, and he was not happy at the time, is right at the end of FGL days before we turned into Team Sweet and came to PGS, and he was top of it. He was either top of the assists or top of the goals. And I said, look, mate, I'm going to put you in CDM. And his quick passing, his tackle, his interceptions and tackles, mate, they're ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
Too ridiculous.
Exactly. So this is a lesson to all players that, like, because for instance, we see applications and we see. I think we talked about this before. But because it's a bone of contention, it's something that's come up again and again and again. We've seen applications and people putting in striker. Okay, what's your second and third position? or cam. All right, what's the other? So I think it's important to be adaptable for sure. Cozy, I want to bring Cozy in quickly because there's a few questions lighting up our chat. So Cozy, you had a question. You had an answer for Wayne Moore, I believe.
Yeah, so I've seen a question here from Wayne saying, "Is the app sorted yet for stats?" Now, Wayne, it's a tricky question to answer because with a mobile app, there is going to be hundreds and hundreds of little tiny bugs that appear here and there. But what I can say is the developers are working round the clock to make sure every little thing that is picked up is sorted. So if the particular issue you have isn't sorted yet, feel free to come forward to one of us and we can take it on to the owners of leagues, etc. for you. But I can assure you that any issues at all with the app will be sorted as soon as they possibly can.
Fact. Yeah. Cheers. Thanks for that, Cozy. Appreciate it. I know there have been. I've not had any issues personally per se, and I know there's a few that haven't. But for those that are still having issues with stats, speak to your admins. They'll sort the stats out for you in the meantime. But in the interim period, this is definitely getting sorted. So cheers for that, Cozy. Billy, I'd like to move on quickly with regards to. I know now we've got Harpooned. What I want to talk about is because I've just seen a message from Ryan and Rimmons and Sam. So these are one of the two characters one of our two newest players actually into the server, but both big advocates of mental health as well as you as well. And I know in our last server we had channels that supported the causes, charities, and things like that. We still do at the moment. Now, I mean, unfortunately, within the esports world, sometimes mental health takes a back seat because people don't think it's important or it's non-existent, but actually it should exist and it should be important. One of the reasons why I feel PlayStation, EA have completely changed the way security and privacy is because of issues with people taking their lives because of the game. Again, mental health should be at the top of the agenda on every occasion. What's your what is your feeling on how we are supporting the cause as a community and as a server?
It's like the managers of teams. I mean, a lot of people think this is just FIFA getting on and whatever else, but the managers of a team, like myself, I like to share little videos. And it's actually today I shared that video of TikTok. And you got to remember, why are you gaming? Yeah. Why are you gaming? If you're not enjoying your gaming, switch game, switch team. I think a lot of people get wrapped up in winning. I mean, I personally have received a lot of messages myself, sort of questioning how I manage teams because they've shown me all these competitions and leagues they've won and everything else. So that's great. But are you enjoying where you're playing? And if the winning stops, then you're going to stay.
Very true. Very true.
As I say, a lot of people at the moment, I think they're putting the likes of virtual trophies and stuff over their mental health. I like to put little videos like that I find on TikTok. So that I find them really positive. To remind us why we're gaming in the first place. For me, gaming it helps my mental health. Coming on and chatting with the likes of Benji, Wayne, Aaron's little temper tantrums all make me little like you get that click with people. That is. I don't really do a lot of offline gaming. I don't do story modes and career modes and whatever else. I don't do that. I come on to talk to people, to play my games with my mates, whether online, real life, whatever. That's why we game. At Harpoons, I cut all the rubbish out. I don't allow that. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how many goals you scored. I don't care how many assists you got. I don't care. We come on to enjoy it. We come on to compete, we come on to win, we come on to everything else. Absolutely. And we'll all get in a misery guts times and go off. Yeah. But the next day you'll get an annoying voice note from Ellis, and
everything's back to normal. Everything's back to normal. Do you know what?
So yeah, just remember why are you gaming?
Absolutely, and I saw that post, by the way. I think people should definitely have a look. If you haven't, in actual fact, I'm going to post it on our Twitter. It's a TikTok forward, but it's quite compelling, and it says everything within one post. I just want to before we go on to the league now that you're running on behalf of the PGS. I want to bring Cozy in quickly. Talk to him about. I want to find out from. So Cozy, obviously you're a gamer yourself, and we've worked together a long time. What are one of your points about the mental health and how within our community and this platform, this big massive platform? Before you answer that question, one thing I will say is that ever since I've been at Team Sweet, one of the reasons why I sort of had to go out, did not had to, but I wanted to go out there and experience other service was just to see the quality, see the competition, see how I can fare. And I think myself and Billy did a few like baffins or whatnot. But I think that journey for me has helped me because I've become a better player, but also a better person within the esports world. People seem to forget that your in real life character versus your online character, sometimes there can be two different things because you're dealing with a variety of emotions online and you're gaming. I think, if you went out there and told someone, oh, by the way, I was gaming last night, I got so irate and I broke my pad, I broke this, I broke that, they'd be like, they won't understand. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's important to really segregate the two, but make sure we understand that they are both relevant, and a happy mental health is a happy gamer, but also you're very respectful to your colleagues and your teammates. Cozy, let me bring you in there. What's your thoughts on this?
I just want to start off by talking about the last thing you said there about smashing your pads and telling someone you got really angry so you smashed your pad. Do you know what? I've been gaming since I was yay high. Like, I think the first time I picked up a controller was probably 1998 when, that was, I guess, 4 years after the original PlayStation came out, and that's when we got one. Like, they were really hard to get hold of, and they were very expensive. And we managed to get hold of one, and I never stopped playing it. And funnily enough, I've now got a PS5, and I never stopped playing it. But I've never broken a pad. I've never got angry and thrown something. Never done it. I get frustrated, and it's a question I get a lot when I do streaming. And I'll do my foot champs for people at the weekend. I'll stream it so everyone can watch it, have a bit of a laugh, a bit of a giggle. And one thing people always say is, how can you be 2 and 18 and still be enjoying yourself? And that did happen one week, so don't judge. But honestly, I don't get it. I don't get how people can get angry at it to that extent. And a lot of people watch me just because I'm so chill, and literally I get my PS5's control, I'm just sat here like, yep. Oh yeah, I'm losing 6-0. And what? And people come in, they give it all the beef saying, you're awful at FIFA, you should quit playing FIFA. And I'm sat there thinking, that's exactly the reason why I stream. That's exactly why I do this podcast. It's building a whole community in which that's not a thing, where people support each other. And that leads very nicely to the first point you made, which is about the keeping bullying out of the community and making sure people's mental health is of a good level. I remember last year we did actually run a tournament for Bullies Out. I ran a foot
Bullies Out,
we helped to raise some money for them, and I know PGS have done quite a lot of work with them. So it's a massive thing in our community about supporting each other, and it's obviously a big part of our podcast as well. And over the last, as you mentioned earlier to me today, on and off we've been doing this for 2 years nearly. I can't believe it. That's insane.
It's crazy.
But the amount of things we've done in that time, absolutely. I really would urge people to look back and see the journey we've come on. And over the next few weeks, we're going to be sharing some of our personal favourite podcasts through our Twitter page, which, if you're not following, is PGS_podcast.
Absolutely. Nice one. Cozy, I appreciate that very much. So I think, to be honest, if you're not following us on Twitter, then where have you been? It's been 2 years. But Cozy makes a great point. I think, a lot of the shows we've done before, I would say even a year old, they're still relevant now, today. We talked about, for instance, with the admin, which we're going to go on to shortly, admins within the PGS. Listen, none of these guys get paid big salaries. In fact, they don't get paid at all, but then the expectation for them to deliver on a daily basis is still very high. And I think sometimes you have to, as a player, you got to understand that these guys, they're here to service you. So show some respect, please. Continue to show some respect. And we are very grateful and gracious for your membership. I want to move on quickly. We've got Billy here. Billy is manager, owner of Harpoon. We've been talking about, the beginning when we had Team Sweet and just the journey from Team Sweet to now. And within that journey, you've got things like you're dealing with a myriad of different people, players, managing personalities as well as players. And you're dealing with just the whole scenario of, why am I sticking with this gaming antic when I've got kids and I've got an outside life and all this stuff, which the majority of us do have. So it's fascinating hearing all this story. And if you've just joined us now, I think it'd be a good look to definitely catch up on this show when it's released, because Billy could be a guy that you could DM and say, mate, I heard you saying this. Do you mind help? And the thing is, all of us are accessible. We're not going to say no. We're not going to not respond. And we urge you all to get in touch if any of this, topic that we've been talking about is of passion, or is of a passion to yourself. It's very important that you come through. Right, Billy. Since all your exploits, you're now running a league, a fully fledged league within the PGS community. So congratulations for that, because I know that's something that you definitely wanted to do. And I know a lot of these guys have a lot of time for you. So talk to me about that process and what was the reason why you decided to do that, because it's more work, potentially more stress. But I know you've got a good support mechanism. So please tell us all about it.
Yeah, so we were playing, as I say, we were playing Lomans. We were just restarting up as Harpooned. So we were doing fives on PGS Europe. And then we were doing another separate fives league on a different server that wasn't really great, wasn't really for us, it wasn't run very well. So it was put out who's up for Monday sixes or who's up for Friday fives. It was a sign up thing, and I just jokingly put in the chat, how about you start for Saturday sixes? And I think it was CV that PM'd me, and he goes, "Oh, are you interested in starting it up?"
Nice.
So tilted back and reached out to one of the other Harpoon long servers, but we don't often see him. He's a bit of a ghost. Mr. Easy E.
Yes.
And I said to him, mate, been approached to start a league. I think we could, put our structure in it, put our ways of doing things in it, the way we want to run it, and see how it goes. So we dove in head first, and started up. Had loads of sign-ups, which when start basically in my league, you go to game times, you won't just see the times of the games what they are. You'll also see the dates that will be a start date and will be an end date. With 2 or 3 weeks in between, obviously a little bit longer because of the World Cup and Christmas. I had a bigger gap. So I'm very structured to that way. It's 10-team leagues. However many divisions I get is what it is. If I can't get 10 teams by the start date that I put, I will drop to an 8-team league and give myself 2 weeks to get that going.
Yeah.
So then it will end on the end date.
Right. Okay.
So that's how straight away. That's how I wanted to do it. That was my way of doing it. That's my structure. I know the 2 weeks or 3 weeks off that we have in between for me to get everyone registered and getting and whatever else.
Touché.
So the first season was hard.
I can imagine.
Not going to lie. As we talk about managers, I kind of want to get this out because you mentioned the word respect.
Yeah.
We need respect, guys. Had a manager come in, started up a load of stuff, was throwing stuff out there, and I'll tell you what, the regular teams that we have, the regular rivalries we have, so Black Cats, United Lions, Tenacious, they all jumped on top of them and said, "Look, stop.
Yeah.
It's a start of the league. We're building it. the better you are. And he kicked off just over one default. Right. As an admin, you can't help that. We have a very regular team yesterday. Completely forgot to tell us that they couldn't get a team together. It happens, and it is frustrating in the way that I run it because but then again, you look at Monday Sixes, it's the same setup. There's 2 league games. I know it's annoying coming on for one game.
Exactly. I can't help it. Yeah, no, you're right.
That's why. That's why I've got a League Cup as well. So that actually starts next week. The first 4 teams to play in that will play next week because it's 10 teams. You've got to give a few teams a bye to the next round, and that keeps. So if we do get a team fold, that keeps people interested. If I say there's still a League Cup to play for, teams go, oh, it's not a dead season. Exactly. I don't want to play. There's something to play. So as I say, these are my structures. This is the way I like it. It's going well. As I say, we've got that group of teams that enjoy playing it. Us and Black Cats always have a chat after the game.
Decent lads. Look, decent lads. Decent lads. Before I've been cozying, because I know from the. Okay, so first and foremost, I just want to break off quickly. I want to shout out Vincent. One of our lead admins. Vincent should have been on our show today, but he's going through some personal bits. So Vincent, shout out to you, mate. Hope all is well. One thing I will say is that. So I've seen this being ran firsthand. Obviously, I know the first season wasn't necessarily easy, but this is the second season now, so that's progress. And in this period, you're gaining a good reputation for your structure. Obviously, the teams like Black Cats won't enter a league that's just not going to be run properly. Because that's a fact. So that's big kudos to yourself. And also, there are managers out there who are new to the setup. Maybe just want to dip their toes in it, just to see what it's all about. Join the Saturday Sixers. Join a Lowman's League. The Lowman's was a dying art from when I first joined. I remember saying to you, Billy, I'm not interested. Full stop. I'm not interested in Lowman's. There's no point. I was that guy. And my whole motive has changed on it. Honestly, I see, because I'm like you. I like a bit order. When it's very messy and just don't know what's going on. It's like, what, we're going to turn up for one league game on a Saturday night? Really? Do you know what I mean? So, but Cozy, I know you've ran a lot of these tournaments, and I know you've probably got, umpteen unhappy players. How have you dealt with this from a PGS perspective in the past? Because I know, Billy, if you don't mind me saying so, Billy, I think a lot of people would have probably dealt with that a lot harsher. And the fact that you had people supporting you at that point, I think that saved that person, in my opinion. But what sort of stance do we hold in this, Cozy, as a community, for those guys that want to come on and bully people and abuse them because of a default or anything like that? I mean,
as for behaviour like that, bullying, discrimination, all of the negative things, there is a zero tolerance to it. And if you're unsure of what you can and can't do in PGS, all you have to do is go in every single one of our Discords, and either in server rules or code of conduct, every server words it's slightly different. There is 10 points there that the directors wrote way before any of us were even involved. Right at the start of their journey, they wrote these out, and they still stand today. There is a zero tolerance to any bullying and any discrimination. And if anyone is found to be doing these things, like I said, it's a zero tolerance. Out you go. But what I would hope is that the community is a lot better than that. One thing I would like to say is, having covered a lot of these issues in our podcast series last year, I feel like a lot of the issues are starting to not be so much of a problem. I think people are starting to see the bigger picture of, actually, if I'm nice to this person, they're going to be nice to me. And it's a crazy concept. Wait, actually, it's not at all. It's quite normal. If you're nice to someone, they're going to be nice to you. And if they're not, well, they're not worth your time.
It is what it is.
I mean,
exactly.
As a community, especially from the admin side of PGS, the owners, directors, whoever it may be, we are making a huge effort to try and bring equality to PGS. Sorry. And I mean, one thing I'm doing personally, which I'm sure we can all agree is a great thing is I ran an all-female cup for Ultimate Team on Friday. And I tell you what, it was the best event I've ever run. The live draw, there wasn't as many views as I'd get in maybe other tournaments because there was slightly less players entering.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, the ones that did watch it, they just made it so special. They were so appreciative that someone had taken time out on a Friday night to run a tournament for them. And I was just like, but that's what I do. It's just me. It's what I do. And the whole tournament, start to finish, I didn't have one single issue. Whereas in the past, I've run tournaments and I've had issues after issues after issues. And this one was just brilliant. And the fact I've created a whole server just for female players to play in. It's the second cup we've run now. And the numbers are growing. We ran a full 16-player tournament. And the next one's going to be 32. And the next one after that is going to keep growing and growing and growing. This is the start of one of the most amazing things for female players in FIFA.
Absolutely. And in actual fact, I want to shout out Ellie. I'm not going to pronounce your surname because I don't want to. I don't look like a fool, but I'll try. Ellie Aegis. So Ellie asks, are you going to bring on any female pro class players on the show at some point? Maybe one of the winners from the tournament. So Cozy, I know you're chomping at the bit to answer this, but please, if you don't mind, I want to go first as a part one, and you can do the part two. So Ellie, I'm so glad that you raised that point. So this time last year, I think we had. I don't think we had a couple of female players on. In fact, one of them was a pro player who actually manages a club within the PGS community. And one of the things that I did, I was very, very, very passionate about this because I've actually done a talk on this in real life with TED Talks. Is just females in business in general, but in this case, females in esports. So we had a big month where we celebrated International Women's Week or month. And then we had a few females come on. In actual fact, a couple of the females that came on to our show were also invited to Billy's server, Billy's club at the time. I think it was Team Sweet. Ellie, again, I think I said at the top of the show, a lot of the shows that we've done in the past are still relevant. The female, and Cozy's going to give us an update on the tournament that was run for females. I think there's a few nuggets in there as well that are quite hilarious, but we're going to get to that shortly. But yes, Ellie, we are definitely holding tournaments for females. There is a big community for females within pro clubs, and we are continuing. We want to continue to invite these onto the show. One thing I will say, Ellie, as well is that I want to throw the baton back to you females in that we need you to come on, to talk about some of the issues that you may have faced, or to talk about the positive that you faced. And the fact that this tournament was run so successfully, it would be nice for a female to volunteer come and talk about some of the problems they may have faced or how easy it was for them to enter. Because I know, when you run a female tournament, there's a lot of checks you've got to make to ensure that there's fairness. So there's so many different things running around. But Ellie, I thank you for raising the question, and we're definitely doing our bit, so please stay tuned in that as well. Billy, just to come back onto you, we're going to sort of wrap up, but I just want to say, second season the Lowman Sixes, are there any what's to come? What's the future goals for Lowman?
For me, it's to keep the same structure, but as we talk about defaults and things like that, I want to keep it how it is, 10 team leagues. I want to get some more divisions in there, and I want people to want to get into the Prem, to have regular teams that turn up, play the game, no defaults, no nothing, and I want people to get into that Prem. That is my goal. Absolutely.
Is there a time span at all that you're giving to this, or you're just kind of doing it on a ad hoc basis?
That's the thing. It is going on sort of how it is. This is how it is. This is how we're going. We've got 4 very good admins ready to go, and we've only got one league. PS5 teams, come and join this. Please come and join this.
You heard it first.
I cannot find you. I don't know how. To be honest, I haven't checked on the other Lowman sort of leagues how their PS5's going. I haven't checked. But PS5, I still haven't got a first season of PS5 yet. That is my attempt. I mean, I've tried everything. Twitter, TikToks, server, everything. I've tried everything. Graphics, everything. I've put everything up. PS5 still not. I mean, I had over 20 sign-ups for PS4, and on start date, I had 9. If you enter these leagues, guys, please tell us if you're pulling out, because it's so much hassle, because I had set everything up ready to go, and I got no response from 11 teams. It was quite, again, I find that another respect thing.
Yeah.
Just if you're not going to turn up for a game, if you're not going to turn up for a league, if you're not going to do this, just tell someone.
Absolutely.
Tell anyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We had just before you go, we had one of the PGS directors on last year, Will. He was very gracious enough to come on and talk to us about I think at the time there was a lot of arguments going on with regards to just admins and stats and all these things. So we just wanted to put what we wanted to set the record straight. I think you remind me of how, I mean, Will basically, I think what Will said was correct, true to form. He said every other admin, they have their own way of doing what they want to do. And I think, in terms of your structure and what you put out there, you'll get PS5 leagues in no time. PS5 leagues aren't that popular anyway across board, unless of course on other platforms. But within the PGS, I mean quite a lot of these servers, they're thriving, but it's still quite new. But also on the other hand, I don't want them to completely, discard PS4. I mean, this is all started with PS4. So, and I think there's this big banner in the community that if you're still on a PS4, you're broke. So it's just, come on, let's try and keep these leagues motivating for the PS4. We're not ready to completely abandon PS4, but if you're on PS5, and I know there's quite a few of you who've moved over permanently and you're looking for leagues to join, then Billy's your man, especially if you're a fan of Lowman's. Get yourself applying ASAP. But Billy, do you have any final words, any questions before we wrap this up?
As I say, I shared my story about how I backed down. Lowman's can be a great way to start. If you have never managed before, and you've got 3 or 4 people, you can find another 2 or 3 or 4 to make that little squad, and that could be how you start. As I say, it's at Harpooned, it's working for us at the moment. We don't know where we're going to go. We've still got plenty of 11 stuff to sort out, but I think 5 and 6s is coming. We are going to be challenging those top places. I just think Lowman's is a great way to start, and I think Lowman should be bigger than what it is.
Absolutely. Well, I'm converted, so I totally agree. But Billy, thank you so much for coming on. I think in years to come, or maybe even months to come, a lot of these interviews will be treasured a lot more, in my opinion. So thank you, mate, and I'll see you shortly for games. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
In a bit. Right. So that was Billy. So Manager's Corner, like I keep saying to everyone, is a section where we are trying to help new members, especially if they're trying to run clubs. It's not as easy as what it looks like, because after your first 3 or 4 losses, especially if they're big ones, the easiest thing to do is to forget this. I can't be asked. I'm gone now. So, the likes of Billy, even Cozy, I could throw a few names out there, Jack of Mud Dogs. There's a lot of managers out there that are very experienced that would definitely see to it that you see games happen and not turn up one day and say we're folded. So thank you so much, Billy. I really appreciate your time on that one. Cozy, we've got some interesting updates on the female tournament that you ran. Could you please expand on that for our audience?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, first and foremost, congratulations to Daiden for winning the tournament.
Congratulations.
In the process, she knocked out 2 professional players and one of the top Xbox players. Unbelievable stuff. Someone that no one's really heard of. So come next year, they could be signed to a top team. You never know. But yeah, I just want to, first of all, before I go through any little things about it, I just want to say a massive thank you to all 16 of the female players that entered. Without them, I couldn't have run it. And it's as simple as that. Yeah. It's like any tournament, like any league. Without the teams or players, you can't run it. And I have to say a special thank you to M15 and Papa Chacon, because she invited 8 players that actually played in the tournament as well. So we ran a little incentive like to get people into the server and stuff, and she just went nuts. Invited absolutely every female player she could find.
Everyone.
And 8 of them took part. So half of the people that took part in our tournament on Friday came from someone networking. It all came from networking. It just absolutely brilliant. So thank you very much for that. But yeah, the tournament was just filled with lots of players. But there was one thing that became not an issue, but was raised a few times by a few of the players. And that was, how do you know that everyone is a female? And even afterwards, when I was talking to people, I jumped in a PlayStation party afterwards. And even people down in the pub, they were like, how do you make sure people are female? Can not anyone just say they're female? Now, this is a really, really sticky situation because
indeed,
if someone comes to you and says, well, I am female, you can't argue with them. That's not a thing. You can't argue with them. But one thing we do, and this came on the back of the tournament, I've now added a channel into the server where it's called Verified Player. And until they filled that out, they cannot see any of the server. And what they have to do, simply they give their name, their username on their console, their country they're from, a Twitter, Instagram account, and a Twitch or TikTok account. So all I do is I look at their social medias, match everything up, and if it all looks kosher, then happy days they're in. And if there's any issues, then I'll just message them privately and say, I'm not sure on this, can we have a chat about it? But, long and short of it is, it's a safe space for female players to play. And all 16 players have turned around and said, I'll be back next time. So next month when we run our second one, I've already got 16 players ready and waiting, which is an incredible achievement.
Absolutely brilliant. Indeed it is. And congratulations to you, Cozy. That's very good. 16 females. Very good indeed. Have they all got clubs, by the way? Because we're looking...
Sorry?
Have they all got clubs for pro clubs?
I don't know. I mean, they're all Ultimate Team players, so you'd have to ask them.
But that's really cool. I mean, so are we gonna have any of these winners on for a soundbite at all at any point, or?
Yeah, so I did speak to the winner earlier today, and they sent over a voice note, but it was like 5 seconds long. And I said, look, I really appreciate what you've done here, but just send me something a little bit longer, and next week I'll get it played for you, because they're a bit shy about coming on. They said, it's not my cup of tea. And I said, okay, that's fine, no problem at all. So they have sent something over to me, but I've said, look, can you just send me something a little bit longer so we can play it and then obviously discuss it. But other than that, there is some of the female players there involved in various teams across the Ultimate Team community. You've got Diana, who plays for Benfica. You've got Jessie that plays for St. Pauli. You've got Miss Vanessa that plays for my team, Notorious. You've got SK FIFA that's been involved with PGS in the past. You also got Lisa Manley, who is the the pro player for PGS on the female side. So there is some huge names in these tournaments, and I can't wait to run more. I really can't.
No, nice. That's great work there, Cozy. Do you have any dates as to when the next one will be?
I haven't got dates yet, but it's all in discussions, and that should be with everyone probably in the next week or so.
Perfect. Okay. I want to shout out some people in the chat. Obviously, our supporters. Thank you so much for for tuning in today. Team Spirit. Speedy. Shout out to you, mate. Obviously, shout out Better Guy, Liam, Wayne. Thank you for all your questions. Sam, thank you for the offer. So just to let our viewers and audience know, Sam Remington is one of our players. He has obviously suffered from mental health, outside of Billy, of course. Jesus, he suffered from mental health, and he's dealt with it. I would call someone like that a survivor, because these issues have taken lives before in the past, and he's graciously offered anyone who is going through some mental health issues to DM him. And I mean, I'm not being funny, but people usually charge for this service. So the fact that he's given that, offering that to all of you, to him, you're all randoms. So he's just a complete, random who's offering his time for anyone that might need help. It could be a simple thing of saying good morning or good afternoon, how you doing, and that kind of sets you up for the day. So please bear that in mind. His name's Sam. He's going to be on the show very soon, and when he comes on, I'll be making sure that you will have his access to how you can get a hold of him. Billy, do you have any social networks that you put out there for everyone to get you in contact with you
on? We've got all ours. You say the mental health stuff. We've always been I believe other clubs, other players that have been at our club, especially Team Street, they carry on doing this. We put out awareness posts all the time. As I say, my inbox is always open. I'm normally doing admin stuff for the league.
Yeah.
So I'm always available. There's nothing I can really put out there. I don't put it out obviously on the PGS, so I'm not that way involved in the PGS. But if I'm sure you and Colsey have seen, I put out little clips all the time, like the one this morning. As I say, I can't thank people enough on TikTok. I mean, there is a lot of negative stuff on social medias, but little posts like that, they're just little gems, and I just like to share them in my own club. That's not just with the FIFA lot. That's with our Warzone team and everything else. I mean, everyone can voice note me. Most of them have got my number. They can all voice note me.
It's funny that, Billy. The last time I asked someone to WhatsApp me, it was a bit of a beef. So I don't know. I'm not sure WhatsApp is a relevant source of communication going forwards. But listen, I want to shout out a few people. Thank you for that, Billy. I appreciate it. I want to shout out a few people. It's with this show. This is your show, so a lot of people that we've met along the way that have helped us create content. So shout out to all my American friends, Blue, Sin, Saint, TJ, every one of those guys that have that have moved on with me, regardless of any issues that may have happened. So big shout out to them for continuing to do what they do on behalf of the PGS. So that's always good news. Colsey, not a lot of people. I mean, Colsey does come across a bit awkward, but he's not. Trust me, he's very confident, and he doesn't like accepting, compliments. So I'm going to compliment him now on the great work he has always done for the PGS. I think you can see his resurgence in bringing some of these tournaments back have actually helped. People are entering tournaments now. I mean, the servers was a bit dead before that. So now we've got people active. Hopefully the mental health is high up there because they're busy doing stuff. And we're always here to help. I mean, the Foot Academy is there as well. I think just a quick example, Christmas Eve, somebody put out a request for help, and we were there to help them on Christmas Eve. So this is what we're all about, and we hope to continue to, be this way going forward for you guys. So listen, without further ado, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please check us out on our YouTube. We've done loads of shows of this ilk, so check them out. We're back again for you guys next week. Thank you to Colsey for being an absolute don. Thank you to Billy for being an absolute donna. Not donna kebab, just a donna. And then I'll see you guys. Cheers, guys. Enjoy your games tonight. Take it easy.
Thank you very much, guys. Take care.
Peace.
Bye-bye.